Hello, and welcome to the OutCast Episode.2. I am your host, Logan, and today we are podcasting again from the rocket ship, otherwise known as my bedroom. Today is an interesting day. You know, I haven't been having the greatest of days, if I'm being honest, and I'm sure a lot of people are kind of feeling the same way because of a couple of events that have been happening in the state of California. So, on the grander scale of things, right now, as you are listening, or as I am recording this, I woke up to seeing smelling a fire in the air this morning, and I was like, that's interesting. It didn't seem too strong at first, and then I go inside and start doing some assignments for classes, and all of a sudden I notice it keeps on getting progressively darker and darker outside. And I go and look outside, and it just smells like intense smoke and fire. And the whole sky is just a deep, dark brown yellow. And I go inside and look up. There's a fire going on in Orange County, in the canyons over there, set up on accident by an out-of-control bonfire. And so I just went inside and figured that since I was out of the way of the fire and out of the danger zone, I'll be fine, but it still was disheartening to see my state burning in my home. You know, not exactly my home, but I do enjoy going to Orange County a lot and kind of investigating what's going on over there. So it is disheartening to see that it is burning, and it is so close, but I had to carry on and, you know, keep going with my classes. So I had to finish one of my last two exams for my pre-calculus class, and, you know, I was kind of nervous because I've been having trouble in this class, and this test coming up I knew was going to be very difficult because essentially it was expanding on more advanced trigonometric subjects that I was not super familiar with, and finally getting up to parametric equations and polar graphs. So I went to go take the test, and immediately noticed I didn't recognize many of the questions and had a really rough time trying to get through this exam. And out of the, let's see, I think it was 14 questions, I could only attempt to answer about 9 of them. And so of those 9, it took me close to almost 2 hours to finish this exam, and I couldn't even get answers for about 4 or 5 of those questions. So coming out of that test, I pretty much knew I failed, which, you know, it's okay. I'm used to kind of failing and recuperating. This isn't the first time I've failed on a test by any means, but, you know, it never feels great to fail. And so after failing the test and submitting the work, I went downstairs to go relax and was watching the news and found out that our wonderful, all-powerful Governor Governor Gavin Newsom reinstated another statewide shutdown. No travel is allowed unless it's essential, so unless you're going to the grocery store or going to pick up a prescription or go to the doctor or go to work, can't really go outside right now. And so that just kind of angers me because I don't even know what we're doing. I mean, they say that coronavirus rates have spiked in this state enough to shut it down again, but can we really trust what they're saying? I mean, I don't know. I feel skeptical of kind of what the current establishment is trying to tell us about this virus because there's been so many misleading facts, and it just all around makes it difficult to enjoy an existence right now. So, for the subject of this podcast, I chose to focus on happiness. And since I feel like it's kind of difficult to be happy in these trying times, why not try to logistically reason our way back to a area of positivity and maybe even try to feel a little better today. So, but for right now, I want to open this podcast with a song. This is a demo I recorded a couple months back, and it kind of sums up how I feel about the situation right now. And I don't know, maybe if you listen and can relate to it, it might sum up the way you feel, or you might get something from engaging in this auditory experience. So this song is called The Bridge to Nowhere, and I hope you enjoy.
And all our hearts are broken, and all our souls are stolen. No one knows who they are now. We are full of hatred, lost inside we're faking. Happiness brings us down. We're on the bridge to nowhere, the path of pain and despair. There's no point in living now. We're all trapped in darkness, there's just too much, it's excess. But don't give up, no stopping now. In a cave of demons, all disguised as reason. You ain't green, close off out. Surrounded darkness now. The light inside is fading, the world is far from changing, but it's up to us to change it. How? I see a different future, that's one of change and suture. Society can be one proud. We're on the bridge to nowhere, the path of pain and despair. There's no point in living now. You gotta fight the darkness, it's in your head, the process of salvation from the dark shroud. Yeah. Your heart was broken, you lost someone important, your vision's gone, can't see your way out. Look forward to the future, 'cause you could save and suture society with ones there now.
And that was The Bridge to Nowhere by my band I call The Little Hollow Experience. And I recorded that song and wrote that song centered around darkness and depression and how it kind of seems and feels like you're on this path to doing absolutely nothing and going nowhere with your life and kind of feeling worthless, and it's just overall a very deep, dark, sinking, heavy feeling. And if you're in that place right now, I sympathize with you. I've been there. I know what it's like. I've been miserable before and struggled through just living day to day. And the best thing I can say to you is just sit down for a second, take a couple of really good deep breaths, and just hold on for a little bit. Hold on for as long as you can. It may seem crazy and wild, this ride that you're on of the rocket ship I call life. but you can hold on. I believe that you have the strength to keep going and persevere through this hard time. Because I know that when times get hard and people start to drop off and things start to deteriorate, if you can manage to stay calm and fight the urge to give in to fear and darkness, you can keep trying your best to go in the right direction and work towards where you're trying to get in life, you'll get through. You know, these times are very uncertain, and I think we're kind of faced with the reality of how life really is truly uncertain in general. We became very comfortable as a society earlier and up before this virus. We thought we were just going to be comfortable and things were going to just keep progressing and getting better, and you know, why should we care about some possible pandemic that might not happen? And then, boom, this disease happened and spread across the globe. So, I think we're learning a valuable lesson right now and truly just harshly realizing that lesson. But on the subject of happiness and trying to stay positive during these hard, trying times, I kind of want to start with the question of what is happiness and why is it so emphasized in art and pop culture, and why does everyone seem to want happiness itself? And I think most people would define happiness as a state of being where you enjoy life indefinitely, or for however long of a period of time you may choose, or life may choose, I should say. And I think people have that definition that's a very general definition that doesn't really help with happiness and trying to understand it and how to get there. I don't think humans by nature are happy. And I was kind of raised in society where you're presented with these images of everything's great all the time. Oh, isn't it so grand in popular culture, and let's have a good time, let's frickin' party our asses off. And as I was growing up, I started to kind of see under the layers of those references and really understand why we focus so much on creating these pieces of art and that are centered around happiness as a state of being and having a good time. And I think it's because, you know, humans by nature are not happy. We're born into a certain position, and it seems that every person wants to get more or try to achieve something more grand than where they are right now. And with that want comes struggle, because, you know, we're not born with the key to success. You have to figure it out through trial and error. And with that trial and error comes many mistakes to figure out where you're trying to go. Every one success takes probably a good couple of hundred, maybe even 1,000 failures. And I think that's a very low number. But through struggle, we find that we can get to a better place. Through, I should say, controlled struggle. Focusing on the area of life where you need to struggle to get to a better place and progress. So, if I were to spell that out for my own example here, in my life, if I want to be happy, I generally know I need to exercise about 3 to 5 days a week. I need to practice and play music probably at least once a day for at least 10 minutes. I need to work on the work I need to get done for school because I thoroughly enjoy the area I'm studying and I really want to try to get a physics degree. And I need to eat right and make sure I'm taking all of my medications and supplements correctly too. Trying to balance everything out. All of that comes responsibility, and all of that takes effort to do, and effort takes work, and work is struggle over time or over a distance. And if you can figure out what things you need to struggle in and focus your efforts on, I think you will have a better time of traipsing through this interesting experience of life. Now, in general, I think if you were to try to focus on something to initially struggle with, find meaningful work or meaningful projects, meaningful challenges in your life to complete. For example, like in my life, I like to challenge myself in physics because it meshes two of the most peculiar subjects, in my opinion, math and life, and how the mechanics of the universe work. So I really just form my life around physics, music, and other arts that may pertain to both of those. With music, I have to draw and keep my other art skills up because I have to design cover designs and t-shirt designs and all this stuff that I really want to get creating one day. And with physics, I have to focus on math, and which I know some people might not think is art, but math in itself is an art form, in my opinion. There's a constant technique you need to practice of arithmetic and multiplication, division, figuring out proofs, solving equations, plugging in variables, evaluating whatever it may be to find a certain answer to a problem that you're faced with. And the other art form is the practice of logic and figuring out how things will react as a result of these equations and numbers that you're getting. You have to draw conclusions from observations and data that you collect. And with both of these art forms come struggle, because you have to practice endlessly every day of your life. You have to practice these things if you want to be sufficient at these subjects. And through struggle and the pain that comes with it, after really practicing hard and eventually getting the result I need and really want after working very hard, it is very fulfilling and meaningful to me. And so that is why I think maintaining a positive feeling about life and vibe, you need to maintain meaningful work, and you can gain happiness from that through struggle, focused on this meaningful work that you choose. And it can be anything. It can be, maybe you really like cooking and you want to start a restaurant, or if you really like growing plants, you can start an agricultural business or some sort of flower shop. Botany, something to do with botany. The word is eluding me right now as to what you would call that business, but maybe you're really into dancing, or you absolutely love business and want to work for a multinational corporation, or want to be a stockbroker, whatever it is. If you find it meaningful, you should go after it, because why waste your time on meaningless work? Now, I mean, I understand that sometimes you need to get a job, especially during hard times, if you cannot work. Like, sometimes life doesn't allow you to work on the things you want to work on. So you have to get a job that you don't necessarily enjoy. We need to do that sometimes. We all need to, especially when you're starting out at square one in life. But if you can work at that job to give you the opportunity and the financial means to move yourself into a better line of work that you enjoy, you should take it, and you should work the heck out of that job. And do it to the best of your ability so you can get as much out of it as fast as possible and then get out of there. That's at least my reasoning behind that. Now, circling back to struggle and in regards to the human condition, struggle is a major theme in a lot of human history. In fact, I think without struggle we wouldn't have much history. If you look back far enough, and if you were to graph all of the difficult and trying times of the human experience over the time we've had on this earth, I think you would see that it would start out in the negative area, just completely below any semblance of enjoyment. We were wild animals almost, just trying to survive and not get eaten by tigers. And over time we banded together and formed tribes to start hunting and slowly climbing up the food chain, and you can probably see the line trend closer and closer to a neutral point, and then suddenly, maybe, let's say, during the Dark Ages and medieval times, it's right below a neutral point. We're getting so close to finding some semblance of relaxation, maybe, and enjoyments in life, but for now, the majority of human society has to work very hard for a very low wage and be subject to a monarch that is most likely a tyrannical ruler. And then finally we get to a 0 point, you know. I would say maybe that was in the, let's say the 1900s. We were finally at a 0 point, you know. We were able to build up society. We weren't necessarily connected. I mean, we were connected globally, but we were not to the same extent at which we are today. I mean, some countries were even still isolated, and we haven't even discovered a lot of things. And then we kind of slowly started to crawl up from there, but from there we've been kind of falling and almost making a zigzag back and forth between 0 and a little bit higher and then lower and then maybe under 0, maybe in the negative direction, really hard times, Great Depression, World War II. And then back to 0, and a little bit up from there, we had a nice boom in the 50s. The 60s, we finally tried to combat racism, but then the Vietnam War started to happen, and government started to do more shady dealings, and we continued to see the corruption in the system, and we'd like to think that we're a little bit farther from there. But I'd say that distance is very negligible. As we could have seen from the last 2 presidential elections with corruption and now we're faced with having to work together as a society, even though we're so far apart and in such a dark place. So right now we're in a point of struggle. And from here, we can either go down or up. I think and believe that we can go up and back into the positive area over time, but it's up to the younger people as a society to kind of try to take the reins a little bit and come up with these solutions and stop fighting over these platitudes that our politicians call problems. Let's try to actually acknowledge things for what they are and figure out what problems we need to focus our struggle on to fix and focus all of our work, blood, sweat, and tears, sometimes lives even. Now, I think with struggle we can kind of manage it with certain parameters. If you can, again, focus on the things we need to struggle on and only keep your focus in that area, then you can use it to your benefit. Now, I want to try to lift the spirits a little bit and I might play another, I will play another song for whoever is listening out there right now. And I'm not quite sure which one it'll be. Going through these list of demos that I've recorded, and I think we're gonna go this is a little experiment that I recorded recently. It's called Symphony from the Little Hollow, and I have always been a fan of classical music. I think it is kind of music in almost its pure form. You know, and it kind of can get at the root of human experience and express these very intricate and complex feelings or thoughts just through sound itself. And so this one was inspired by finding a semblance of positivity in a dark place. So, with that in mind, I hope you enjoy the Symphony from the Little Hollow. And that was the Symphony from the Little Hollow. Now that things are a little bit lighter, I think I'd like to close this podcast with a couple of questions and thoughts about happiness. Because you heard my thoughts on how to reach happiness through struggle and kind of what I think happiness might be. I wonder, how do you guys manage staying happy during these times and trying to stay positive? If you want to let me know, go ahead and message me. Well, first, leave a comment down below if you'd like to let me know down below on this video, or if you are listening on a different platform, go ahead and follow me on Instagram at lit.tle_hollow. It'll also be posted in the description. And there'll also be a post about this podcast on my Instagram. Go ahead and leave a comment about what you do and what you think you need, and in general, what do you think other people could do to maintain a positive mood during this time, or a positive overall experience? Maybe make things a little bit better. And to end this little thing, this little podcast here, I would like to play out this song. This is called the Not So Lovely Love Song. Now, it is a little tune that I have. It's a little bit more on the brighter side to kind of help. It's, again, about trying to maintain a more positive outlook, even though you are faced with a problem that is just causing you pain in your life. And this was about, specifically, a breakup I went through, and kind of finding a way to positivity after I broke my own heart after breaking up with somebody, even though that was probably a good, and I found out later, was a good decision for the betterment of my own health, and hers too, probably. So, anyways, without further ado, here is the Not So Lovely Love Song by the Little Hollow Experience.
Ain't got a lot of money or fame. At least I had my honey for a change. The whole world could crumble to our feet. I know it's kind of funny or strange. I feel that you're the one. Take my name. And I feel that we are meant to be. But I don't know where this path could take me. It could either go far or just break me. Just gotta follow your heart, let it find feelings that are true. My feeling is that I'm not in love with you. I know it's kind of sucky, it's okay. You're not the only one that's in pain. I can say my heart was broken too. You were my first love, that's the thing. I wish this really wasn't the case. But the spark has gone and so have you. And I don't know where this path could take me. It could either go far or just break me. Just gotta follow your heart, let it find feelings that are true. My feeling is that I'm better without you. It's time to me to go and be free from all the feelings that limit me. So many things in life are left to do. I wish for you the best and retain all the great memories that we made. 'Cause time will pass, but those will stay with you. Hope I will be happy and amazed with this crazy decision that I've made. This path is hard, but at least I know it's true. 'Cause I wanna go out and just be free. Call out to the world, come on with me. Persuade to follow their hearts, let them find feelings that are true. My feeling is that that's how we'll seek the truth. My feeling is that that happiness will come soon.
And that, my friends, will be the conclusion to the second episode of the OutCast. I hope you enjoyed this little thing. If you did, please let me know in the comments what was your favorite part, if you had a favorite part, if there's anything that, you think that I could do to help make this podcast a little bit more entertaining. I'm open to suggestions as well. So far, I'm just figuring things out, but for now, this is kind of the vibe I'm going for. So, with that, my friends, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or night, whatever time it may be, and remember to hold on, keep going, and if you're focusing in the right place and doing what you feel is right in your heart and in your gut, feel confident that you are going in the right direction and you are doing the right thing in your life. So, goodbye.